Hi, everyone. Mike White here. Welcome to this week's vlog post. First, let me start out by saying, based on the advice from my eye doctor, we're going to be wearing uh, blue light blocking glasses when I use the computer screen. So, it's a switch. Many years I wore glasses, then had laser eye surgery. But more and more, I've been dealing with challenges using the computer screen. So we had to go and get the glasses that filter the blue light. So it's a change, but life moves on and we all change. So here we go. This week I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about something that continues to come up and continues to be brought to my attention, and I don't think enough people are really discussing. And while I generally have spent a lot of time talking about financial literacy and how I try to get my clients and the companies that I deal with to work really hard within their own communities promoting financial literacy, especially at the high school level, to help kids understand, some basic fundamentals about money and credit and those types of things. More and more recently, and it's been brought to my attention because I've seen some articles about this, and I really had an impact this week when two of my clients during calls said that they've had transactions jeopardized because of a certain circumstance, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. And so, what I'm really, pointing at is financial illiteracy, and that it's real. And while it's always been there to some degree, and we know some people have a better understanding of how money works than others, we're really facing a challenge of the world of instant gratification. We're, an entire generation of people have really they've grown up with little to no understanding about the cost and consequences of bad financial choices, and how wanting it now can often mean that they might never really have the things that they really want at all. So the instant gratification cycle is something that really just it drives me crazy. And I say that not only from a coaching and a training standpoint, but as a member of society, as a father of children that I've tried to raise to a certain degree of financial literacy. It even drives me nuts when I realize even my own son sometimes gets, upset because it's going to take 2 hours for Amazon to deliver a package to his door, right? The fact that my own daughter, when we sit down and look at it, spends more than 50% or consumes more than 50% of her and her family's meals either eating out or in some sort of food that's being delivered to the house. Now, it's amazing considering they grew up in my household, and they've had great educations and they have solid careers and above average income. So I make no, you know, I can't complain about that, certainly, and it's their lives. But they've been exposed to, my career and my teachings and whatever. And even they, unfortunately, put themselves on paths where it may not be the highest and best use of their resources. And they're under 40, and yes, they own their own homes and they've got children and they take great care of their kids, and they do have some minor investments and things like that. But when I realize that that's likely above average for their peer group, it makes me think. Now, the next problem that I really down is really what comes to mind now is the generation that's behind them is likely a far different story. And I've seen repeatedly that those people under 30, let's be honest, how many of them even have a checkbook, much less balance one, right? It's how many of them order their food and have a very limited ability to prepare a menu, go shop for the food and cook. I mean, some of them don't save any money. They live paycheck to paycheck. They certainly don't save or plan for major financial obligations. And what I'm seeing now, the greatest threat to many of them is this instant gratification that they've dealt with their entire lives, the ability that they can have it all and they can have it now with a point or a click or credit or whatever it is. And again, the situation this week that I was talking about, and again, some of it has to do with inflation in the economy right now, is the buy now, pay later mentality, right? And I've seen articles, I've seen information where the number of people who are buying on those situations is increasing, multiple accounts. And we all know that, again, the buy now, pay later, the payday loan deal. I see advertisements on TV, get, a point and click and you can have $1,000 in your checking account tomorrow. And we all know that this is likely the worst form of, you know, financial obligation short of maybe going to a loan shark. And so I bring this up increasingly because I think we have, as an industry, an obligation to remember that we work with people and explain to them the cost of these things. But even if you don't reach out and do that, it's really more important now than ever, because I've seen people on the verge of possibly losing their homes because they can't manage this. And how about the first time home buyer who is challenged enough in this market, getting to the finish line, who during the course of the deal takes one of these payday loans, or during the course of this deal goes to buy now, pay now in that account. And again, the deals that I'm talking about were people where those payday loans were there and they had those accounts, and now it's counted against their DTI, and the impact of those payments is substantial against, if they can qualify for a loan, they're qualifying for significantly less money than they otherwise could be because of their usage and because of their obligations to the payday loan situation. And you know what? People don't realize this and they don't know. And it's only a matter of time before one of us or many of us are going to be in a situation where you're getting ready to close that loan, and at the last minute you pull that credit report and they've got one of those buy now, pay later type deals on their credit report, and your whole deal gets shot to hell, and they don't get that house. And for some of those people, they may never get another opportunity to buy a home. And you must really think about that for the first time home buyer, especially the marginal buyers, and we all see them. That the last best hope that they're ever going to have of the thrill of home ownership is you getting them to the finish line on that first house, because that's the biggest barrier. We all know people who get that first house are going to be homeowners and likely stay homeowners for the rest of their lives. But so many people, for whatever reason, never get into that first house, and they never ever get one. So keep that in mind as we go forward. Last but not least, important information today. This morning, we've obviously initial and continuing claims, as we have every Thursday morning, but we also get the GDP numbers today. And tomorrow, really important that the PCE numbers are going to come out. So those are the economic, numbers that could impact our markets. I am still positive on the market. I see a gradual, slow decline in interest rates, nothing dramatic. But I think we're on a path where we can take a breath, and potentially the high water mark has been set, and we may get to see a gradual, not dramatic, but a gradual easing of rates, and hopefully help ourselves out and create some people who've been on the fence to move forward. As always, if you have questions or comments, it's Mike at imtcoaching.com. Talk to you again next week. Take care.